Hi, my name is Dan Oddy, Engineering and Technical Sales for Detroit Speed.
And I'm Josh Smith, Fabricator at Detroit Speed.
And today we're going to show you how to install the DSC mini tubs in 1962 to 67 Chevy 2.0. Start by removing the deck lid. Be careful removing the trunk springs, they are under high pressure. Remove the trunk hinge assemblies from both sides. Locate and drill out the spot welds to remove the trunk support bracket. Separate the upper and lower support flange pieces using a chisel. Repeat this step for the opposite side. Cut around the trunk hinge support bracket and remove this piece from the stock inner tub on both sides of the vehicle. Cut out the provided upper seat back template and place on the inside of the vehicle next to the stock inner tub. Line the edge of the template up with the edge of the depression in the seat back bracket. There are two different upper seat back templates, so make sure you use the correct one for your application. Place the template so that the top horizontal edge is 6 inches below the top of the seat back. Mark the top edge of the template to the seat back, as well as the dashed line around the stock inner tub. Using a cutoff wheel, cut along the curved line you created around the stock inner tub, and then make a vertical cut from the top horizontal line to cut around the inner tub. Then make a cut along the horizontal line. Drill out the spot welds that hold the seat back panel to the diagonal support and the lower support stand. Pry the seat back off using a hammer and a chisel. Remove the section of the seat back from the vehicle. Drill out the spot welds holding the diagonal brace to the lower support stand and pry loose with a hammer and a chisel. Drill out the spot welds around the lower support stand and remove from the vehicle. Cut out the provided mini tub templates for the driver and passenger side. Place the template around the stock inner tub in the correct orientation. With the template in place, mark around the edge of the template on the trunk floor as shown. Cut around the stock inner tub to remove it from the vehicle. You need to leave the flange that is spot welded together between the inner and outer tub, so cut to the inside of that flange. Cut around the bottom of the tub. This cut is not critical, as we are just trying to cut the stock inner tub to get it out of the way. This rough cut will be cleaned up later. Remove the inner tub from the vehicle. Cut and trim the remaining part of the inner tub so that it is flush to the inner tub flange around the top. Grind this flange smooth, as we will use this surface to weld the DSC mini tub. Cut along the line you made on the trunk pan around the mini tub template to make room for the DSC mini tub. Leave the line around the corners, as this can be cleaned up later. Measuring from the inside of the stock outer tub flange, make a vertical mark 4 inches at the front and back from the outer tub flange. Make a cut through both vertical lines as shown. Transfer the cut line you made in the trunk pan using the mini tub template to the bottom side of the frame rail. You can do this by measuring from the stock inner tub flange to the cut line in the trunk floor and taking that same distance straight down and marking the bottom of the frame rail. Reuse the mini tub template along the bottom of the frame rail and connect your marks to make your cut line along the bottom of the frame rail. Where the traced line along the bottom of the frame rail meets the outside frame rail, make 2 vertical lines up to the trunk floor as shown. Using a cutoff wheel, cut along the inside of the vertical mark and along your traced line from the template on the bottom side of the frame rail. Cut to the inside of the remaining vertical line in the frame rail until you meet the cut line in the trunk floor and remove this outside section of the frame rail. With the frame rail section out of the way, cut up to the vertical marks and grind as needed. From inside the vehicle, continue cutting the trunk floor to the outside of the frame rail until you meet the front edge of your cut line in the trunk floor. Remove this section of the trunk floor as shown. Grind along the cut on the trunk floor to smooth and clean up this edge. Grind the front doubler area of the outer tub so that the spot welds break loose, as this surface will be used to close out the outer tub with the DSE mini tub. Trace along the inside of the inner frame to remove the rest of the bottom of the frame rail. The cut profile along the trunk pan should match the cut profile along the bottom side. Cut along this line to remove the section of the frame rail. Grind the cut along the frame rail and smooth as needed. Drill out the factory lap flange welds at the front of the tub opening. Using a hammer and chisel, pull back the top of the lap flange between the outer tub and the section that is left of the inner tub. Cut the remaining section of the inner tub around the lap flange that you have pulled back as shown. Remove these sections of sheet metal. Grind the flange of the floor pan behind the sections you just removed for a clean surface. If you plan on fabricating a new lap flange, remove the rest of the factory flange using a hammer and chisel. Otherwise, you can reuse the factory lap flange after the mini tub is installed. Grind smooth for a clean surface. Move to the back side of the inner tub area and trim off the outer layer of the factory rear lap flange as shown. Bend the inner layer down and into the wheel opening. Fabricate a new panel from the frame rail closeout templates using 14 gauge material or thicker. If you are also installing a DC Quadrolink, these closeouts are included in that kit. Position the frame rail closeout in place. You'll need to bend the back of the closeout to match the contour of the mini tub at the trunk floor. Mark and trim the outer frame rail to fit the closeout as needed. Once the closeout fits the frame rail, clamp it in position and tack weld as shown. Trim the back of the closeout that sticks past the outer frame rail as needed. Fabricate a new front flange connecting the front edge of the frame rail closeout to the area where the factory lap flange was removed. This will give you a good surface to weld the front of the mini tub in place. Tack weld the front flange in place as shown. Fabricate a new rear flange to connect the rear edge of the frame rail closeout to the inner layer of the rear lap flange. This will give you a good surface to weld the rear of the mini tub in place. Prepare the area and tack weld the rear flange in place as shown. Test fit the DSC mini tub. Make note of any area that will need trimming and finish grinding. Double check fitment at all mounting surfaces and adjust as needed. When you are satisfied with the mini tub fitment, clamp the mini tub in place. Mark the area for plug welding. Space your plug weld marks about 1.5 inches apart. Remove the mini tub from the vehicle and punch your marks in the mini tub for plug welding. Clamp the mini tub and verify your position and the weld locations. Remove the mini tub and finish welding around the perimeter of the frame rail closeout. Finish weld your front and rear fabricated flanges. Finish grind your welds around the closeouts and grind the closeout smooth to prepare the frame rail for welding the mini tub in place. Spray the area on the mini tub as well as the frame rail closeout and flanges that are going to be welded with a self-etching primer to keep from rusting in the future. Install the mini tub and clamp it in place to the frame rail as well as to the outer tub flange inside the vehicle. You can also use self-tapping screws or clecos to hold the mini tub in place. Plug weld the mini tub to the frame rail closeout and flanges. Then move to the inside of the vehicle and plug weld the mini tub to the outer tub. Weld the mini tub to the top of the frame rail and trunk pan as shown. Reinstall the lower support stand inside the vehicle and plug weld it back in place. If you will be installing the DSE Quadrelink, do not weld the lower seat back brace into the vehicle at this time. This bracket will need to be modified when installing the Quadrelink before it can be welded in. Clamp the diagonal brace to the lower support stand and then weld in place. Using the upper seat back template, fold the tub side of the seat back to create a weld flange for the mini tub. Punch weld holes in the flange and reinstall it into the vehicle. Clamp and tack weld the seat back in place. Weld the seat back to the diagonal brace and then plug weld the flange to the mini tub. Grind the welds on the seat back smooth for a clean finish. Moving back to the trunk area, grind the weld smooth at the inner and outer tub seam. Fabricate a new trunk hinge support bracket to attach to the trunk hinge bracket on the driver's side mini tub as shown. There is a provided template for the 1966 to 67 Chevy 2 application if needed. Clamp the new bracket to the trunk hinge bracket and weld it to the mini tub. Then spot weld it to the trunk hinge bracket. You will need to trim the outside flange on the trunk hinge to clear the driver's side mini tub. Make a straight line on the outside face of the trunk hinge. Use a cutoff wheel to remove the lower section of the hinge and grind smooth. Moving to the passenger side, fabricate a new trunk hinge support bracket as shown. Clamp the new bracket to the trunk hinge bracket and spot weld it in place. Then spot weld it to the mini tub. Grind the weld smooth for a clean finish on the driver and passenger side trunk hinge support brackets.